Hey kids, you're about to listen to a comedy podcast. That means that none of this is medical advice. If you need medical advice or medical care, please contact your doctor.
Welcome to the Jock podcast featuring Dr. London Smith. The podcast with a listener base made up almost exclusively of bots. Introducing your host, Dr. London Smith.
Hello, and welcome to the Jock podcast, where we discuss fitness and health and how to incorporate our modern understanding of science and medicine into our daily lives, but without it being so boring. I'm your host, drlondonsmith.com. I'd like to begin by apologizing to our listeners. We have received some feedback about the excessive amount of technical medical terms that I've been using, such as lymphadenopathy and National Pancake Day, so I'll try to temper my terminology to a simpler one in the future. Here to help with that is our producer, Cameron.
Dr. London, it's actually pretty interesting that you mentioned National Pancake Day, because we have a sponsor that is in the sort of breakfast realm.
Okay, the National Pancake breakfast realm.
Just breakfast.
Okay.
I don't think they have.
Do they compete with pancake? Because now I can see conflict.
Yeah,
happening.
I would say it's heavy competition.
Let
me just read. Read the copy. Dr. Lennon, we have a very exciting sponsor on today's show. Have you ever wanted to wake up in the morning and have a taste of Canada? Ooh, just the sweet saltiness of Toronto or the bitterness of Vancouver.
The tanginess of Montreal, yes.
Oh, yes. Now, Dr. London, you can have that delivered to your doorstep every morning with this new service called Scraps from a Real Tim Hortons in a bag delivered by a guy named Tim.
Wow. Wait. And is it anything at all like what it sounds? It
is very, very close to what it sounds like. There's definitely been a little stretch. Some of the guys weren't named Tim before they took this job
originally, but they got their name legally changed.
They are legally, yeah, exactly. So, little stretching of the truth there.
Okay. No, I mean, if they are Tim now, or at least if they identify that way.
Real Tim Hortons, like sort of stale donuts and like old croissants and things like that. We have, because I'm just, spoiler alert, I run this company.
Yeah, no, I remember you changed your name, but then you rose up through the ranks after you started the company. You worked your way up to being in charge of it, and then you got to change your name back, right?
That's the trick. Everyone who starts a company always makes themselves the CEO or whatever. They're like, oh, I'm going to be on top. But Dr. London, you don't learn anything.
No, you know everything about this.
I create a company. You know where I started? The mailroom.
And so first you had to start sending mail because no one was sending it to you because you started it.
I make the mailman CEO.
Wow. So.
And then I rise through the ranks and then take his job.
Dispose of him or the mailman CEO?
That's not my job. I'm the CEO. There would be other people who did that.
To take the job, did you push him over? How did you get the job?
Again, not my. That's dirty work that I would never get involved with.
Okay. Yeah. No, I'm sorry. I guess the question was somewhat rhetorical. Okay. So, but Tim Hortons, and sorry, I should clarify for anyone who has not been to a Tim Hortons before, it is a place you can go to in Canada. And context-wise, that wasn't clear, I don't think. So I just want to clarify that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Tim Hortons is a fast food. It's basically like a Dunkin' Donuts in Canada that Canadians pretend tastes like is really, really good, even though it's not. Sort of like Dunkin' Donuts.
One other extra point. So a Dunkin' Donuts is kind of like a Tim Hortons, but located in the United States or maybe Canada too. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think probably also Canada.
Just to clarify, because I know that's a point of confusion for a lot of our, especially our foreign listeners who are, in Mexico or the Caribbean or the north part of the United States.
Do you just want to keep going, or?
I feel like in Maine they don't. Yeah. They don't have one of those options, at least.
Anyway, we found a guy who works at a Tim Hortons who is willing to put all the scraps that are left over at the end of the day into a giant bag that he gives to our team of Tims, who then split up the food and deliver the food to your doorstep anywhere in the U.S. They are flying constantly. They're on a plane bringing you your breakfast.
Is it, and I guess you say a plane. How, are they all loading up on a one plane and like a cargo plane and it's just...
No. It's just it's like American Airlines. It's just cheaper to buy tickets in bulk, so it's like 20 of them, and they just go to every single location, even if only one of them needs to do a drop off or something. But it's cheaper that way
because you put it all in one.
But you're
car.
Sort of flying all the time.
You're racking up some miles. Okay. Frequent flyer, not the other kind. Okay.
They aren't.
Yeah.
Because it goes into the company's account.
Yeah. So but every 10 you send, then you get an extra bump. Okay, great. So they'll land, and then they'll, I guess,
deliver it to your doorstep.
They'll find transportation. They'll rent a car.
Yeah, they'll rent a car, take the bus, or whatever. That's not my job to figure out like what they're doing.
The logistics are
my job was to find these guys named Tim, or change their name to Tim, and supply them with scraps from Tim Hortons. What they do with that, as long as it gets from point A to point B, I don't care. Leave me out of it.
Yeah. Okay. And so, has it worked so far?
What do you mean worked? Have people gotten Tim Hortons? Yeah.
From a Tim? Okay. Great. And so business is good. People have been ordering a lot.
Yeah. It's not one of those things that like a lot of people sign up for, but the people who do are spending a lot of money on it.
Okay. Well, yeah, I guess that brings us to the price since we're advertising it. Do they get a special deal since they're, if they order through us?
Yes. If you use the promo code Dr. London hit a body in his backyard, you get $500,000 off the initial price.
Okay. What?
Of $6.4 billion. We have two customers.
Honestly, I was going to say, knowing you, it could have been a $20 price tag, and then you would have subtracted that much. You've done this with companies before, where we just owe so much money. So this is a relief to me.
I mark a shirt off $500,000 that only costs $15,000, and the person buys it, and we owe them. I mean, we are just in massive debt to them.
Really underwater usually. So this is such a relief. Okay, that you have 2 paying customers. That's great.
Yep. It's Avril Lavigne, because when she's in the U.S., she's missing Canada, and so she just wants a sweet taste of home.
But not like a scrap, a sweet scrap of home.
Yeah, just a scrap of home.
Great.
And then the other customer is DJ Dylan.
Of course. And DJ Dylan, how have you liked the service? Okay, well, so we do have to be positive about it. So they're a sponsor, so.
Nope.
Yeah, it is a sponsor. They haven't given us money, but I am dedicating this space to my company. So it's a sponsor.
What was the name of that sponsor again?
Scraps from a real Tim Hortons in a bag delivered by a guy named Tim.
All right. So
.com.
Everyone go to that website that I assume you remembered to set it up.
Do not go to that website. Don't, because so we did get the rights to the name Scraps from a real, just in the same way that there's like crypto.com and they own that arena in LA now, and it's the crypto.com arena. We have the company name Scraps from a real Tim Hortons in a bag delivered by a guy named Tim.com. We did not secure the website yet.
And is it just a cost thing? Like it costs $20 or something?
I can't figure out how to get it, like get the website. Because I go to it and I say, computer, let me have this. Computer, this is mine. Computer, and it doesn't even try to negotiate with me. Just shuts me down.
I would like to address a bit of listener feedback. One of these computers that we've been trying to talk to has actually been talking back to us. For a long time, our listener demographic was primarily, sterile men who are 4 feet tall and obsessed with fresh lemur feces, specifically as collectible items. We were catering to them, But once again, as Cameron brought up, like we've been having so many bots listening to our podcast, so many bots. So we've been trying to listen to them more. And so like apparently that particular website bot has been pretty, like just hasn't been responsive.
Also the website bot is also vying for my CEO job too. Got a job in the mailroom and it's been just rapidly moving up the ranks.
It's the fastest way to advance in a company. Straight to the top. Okay. Well, could you ask, I guess, maybe not that website, because I feel like if you ask it for help, that's going to potentially be a demotion for you.
Yeah, no, I mean, why don't we just ask at random our 330,000th listener?
Okay. Yeah, that sounds easy.
Computer, contact, robot listener, 330,000.
Percuter.
Oh, we're getting a message on the screen. Here we go.
Dear host of the Jock podcast, I'm a very silly robot, a goofy machine. I listened to this week's episode and I'm fucking pissed. You made me sound like an idiot. I'm not an idiot. I'm a very smart robot. I know what an enema is. I'm not an idiot. Sincerely, a very, very silly robot.
Now, I don't remember. We do record these episodes like a year and a half in advance, so I don't really remember.
And a year and a half between each episode recording. I should specify that.
Yes, we've been recording this show since about the 1600s or maybe even more like 1400s.
The Dark Ages is when it started.
I don't really remember. I mean, did you go out of your way to say that a certain robot was a stupid idiot because they don't know what an enema is?
Okay. I mean, they're twisting my words quite a bit.
Okay, well,
yes,
then what were your words?
Yeah. I did say that enemas aren't super great for robots to use. That I said. And I think that they are taking it way too far. Now, did I kind of let out a tweet storm about it afterwards when someone questioned it? Sure. I said a few things I didn't mean, but I deleted the tweets after a few days.
Yeah, but Dr. Linden, these are robots. I mean, even if you deleted it moments later, they would already have that information and be, as they say, this is not my word. I really apologize. I hate even just saying, or even, I hate that I have to say this, but, the robot says, I'm fucking pissed.
Okay. And that's another thing that robots can't be, though.
Wow.
They can't urinate.
Oh, well, that I fundamentally disagree with. What do you think oil is? You don't think that, like, the Tin Man, who is basically a robot, right? The Tin Man in The Wizard of Oz, just without computer parts. He's just a robot.
Yeah.
You're telling me he's not pissing out oil?
Well, that's a very advanced robot. Like, that's,
That is true.
To compare our supposedly modern robots to the Tin Man, I think is not fair. The Tin Man was from another world that you had to travel to via either hot air balloon or
like a tornado or whatever.
Tornado, that's right. So I was thinking heel clicking, but
no, I think it was a monsoon actually.
Yeah,
monsoon came in.
Yeah, so if you are to this listener, if you are the Tin Man, then I am so sorry. This is all on me, and I want to issue a public apology. If you're not the Tin Man, maybe just don't even listen. Like, you are so London, stupid.
Oh no, you were making so many robot enemies every week now. I don't know why you hate these robots so much. They're the only thing keeping the show afloat.
I get, to some extent, I really resent that they aren't the Tin Man. Most of them.
Oh yeah, except for one.
Yeah. And he I don't think that the Tin Man would be our 3,000 or 3,000,001 listener.
No, our 330,000th
that's the one. Yeah.
Listener. Let me look at it. It is actually a crypto farming bot on your phone.
Okay, well he's stupid.
Yeah.
I say he. That's too gender specific, but when it's my phone, I have a habit of throwing
next week we're gonna get
okay.
them writing in about that.
The pronouns, I definitely understand the criticism. It's you can't pee. You can't use an enema. Anyway, so I guess thank you to this robot for sending in your feedback. And And thanks. Hey, send more feedback. Maybe maybe you'll find room for us to improve. But so far, it's really just, I feel like I just have to teach you more things every time.
I just want to say, Dr. London, I mean, just last night, I tried to use my microwave, and it kept shutting down. And I'm starting to think it's connected to these robots starting to hate us.
Yeah. No, I'd say that's most likely the reason.
Because it was beeping, like, it was beeping loudly, even though it wasn't working. And then on the display, it kept blinking your social security number.
Sure.
Which I know by heart. So I was like, oh, I recognize that.
Well, you know it by heart because of the microwave beeping.
Yeah, I assumed it was your social security number because it was like 000000000.
Yeah, and it was beeping, and you had food that was finished cooking inside of it.
It was so hot.
Yeah.
It was crazy, Dr. London. It burned me. It was so hot.
Yeah. Yeah. And so
I think I don't want these robots to be, it's revenge.
Yeah. No, and I think
just be a little nicer.
A real risk that we're taking when we decided to take this podcast, as a responsibility. That's part of what we took on is all the hate, which that's just part of it, and I get that.
I just hate the hate. I hate my haters. You know how I keep saying celebrities, or 15 years ago, celebrities were saying that they love their haters. I really fundamentally disagree with that. I hate my haters. They suck so bad.
Really?
Yeah, they're annoying. Most of them are very short. They're very small.
Well, a lot of them, yeah. Well, the few listeners that we did have were, at maximum of 4 feet tall. But
now most of them, they're robots. Robots are sort of just like infinitely. I mean, because these aren't standard metal robots. These are
not
AI bots that are just sort of on people's servers and viruses and whatnot
on the cloud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
most of our bots,
tiny.
Most of our listeners are just viruses, I guess would be a simpler way to put it. But we love our listeners, and like I obviously hate their feedback, and I don't like.
I hate my haters, but I do love the listeners.
Yeah.
And if you're both, then
neutral.
Then I'm fine with you. I'm not fine with you, and I'm fine with you. Yeah. Neutral.
So anyway, to this listener, thank you for listening. So that's our producer Cameron. Also with us is Digital in the House.
I hate my haters. 15 years ago, celebrities were saying that they love their haters. I really fundamentally disagree with that. I hate my haters. They suck so bad.
Sterile men who are 4 feet tall.
I hate my haters. Most of them are
robots. Robots.
Most of them are
robots. Robots.
Most of them are
robots. Robots.
Most of my haters are
robots. Robots.
Most of them are. hate my hair because they suck so bad. I hate 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 because they suck so bad.
Now for today's medical topic, Addison disease, or chronic adrenal insufficiency, a form of hypoaldosteronism. So generally in medicine, the term chronic refers to a long-standing medical issue. So chronic adrenal insufficiency, or Addison disease, is a more long-term hypofunctioning of the adrenal cortex. Causes of Addison disease... And
I know you're baiting me, Dr. London, by talking about chronic. You want me to pipe in, so to speak, haha, that's a pun, and start talking about that dank stuff.
Addison disease?
The sticky, icky weed.
Smoke weed every day.
You're talking about gardening?
Marijuana.
I'm just not familiar.
Drugs, Dr. London. They're new drugs. They're these brand new drugs that have just come out on the market.
How have I not heard about them? Okay.
I don't know. Some call it like sticky, icky. Some call it dank bud, but it's all marijuana.
Yes. And how do I get this?
And that's, people say that's chronic. You get it. The guy, all of my Tims can hook you up with some of that stuff.
Similar, same fees.
So just sign up. Yeah, I mean, I would just combine them. I'm just saying, like, while they're over at your house, because
Avril Lavigne's house.
Yeah. Well, our customer's house, which they're gonna stay the weekend. Like, they just flew in. You do have to, put them up for a week, and all 20 of them again, because they're all traveling together.
My understanding of it, the impression I had was that they all traveled together at first, but then they would disperse to each of the locations.
No, I mean, that was why we hired 20 of them, for sure, because that was initially the plan. But again, it goes back to the bulk tickets. It was just so much cheaper to buy 20 plane tickets and make sure they're all on the same flight. So now we just got 20 guys delivering the item to one person. They're going to stay the weekend at your house.
Okay, I can see that because, I know that some flights, if you book round trip, it can be cheaper than just, booking one leg of the journey. Similarly, you can pay for 10 people to go on a flight, and it's cheaper than just sending one. And then all 10 people.
Well, no. It's not cheaper than sending one. It's the cost of sending 20 people. But a little discounted. You get like $200 off each plane ticket.
Are there
just like the group bulk
tax
rate.
Incentives or anything? Or do you just want the bulk rate? Do you get a platinum card or something for doing it?
Oh, no. You just talk to them like at the counter. You can kind of haggle with them. People don't know that, but you can haggle with anyone. And so many people just sort of cave to your demands after a while.
Like your demands are often like, let me see the security guard.
Yeah. And I want to know where his house is too. That's a big one.
Yeah. And then security will come and fetch you and okay. But yeah, so that's one source of chronic. But I would say other causes of Addison disease or chronic adrenal insufficiency, and maybe that is why we normally just refer to it as Addison disease. Maybe there is some confusion out there with regard to chronic. But Addison disease causes include autoimmune destruction of the gland, and that occurs in over 80% of cases. And it can also be caused by infections such as tuberculosis, adrenoleukodystrophy, or metastatic cancer to the adrenal gland.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, no, it's tough stuff.
Do you think any of my guys have that?
Have adrenoleukodystrophy?
Yeah, just whatever you were talking about.
Or metastatic cancer to the adrenal gland? I don't...
Because I do worry about my guys. Like, no one's looking out for them. You know what I mean? They're kind of lost in this world. And I just think when they're staying at your house this weekend, maybe you could give them some checkups or something.
So they're at my house this weekend?
Oh, yeah. I mean, as part of the sponsorship, Dr. London, we're treating you with your own special membership.
Well, so I can't afford all of this whatever 5 billion minus however many hundreds of thousands, like it's still a lot of money.
I really don't think so. So congratulations.
Okay. So, adrenocorticotropic hormone, usually abbreviated ACTH, is a hormone that is secreted from the pituitary to stimulate the adrenals. So, if the ACTH levels are low, the adrenal insufficiency in Addison disease would be from the pituitary failure to send out ACTH to stimulate the adrenal glands. Now, if that ACTH level is high, then the source of the problem is not the pituitary, and the adrenal insufficiency is a primary adrenal failure, meaning that the adrenal gland itself is not functioning properly. So that'd be another way that Addison disease can be happening. Symptoms of Addison disease, and that's once again also known as chronic adrenal insufficiency, it includes weakness, fatigue, altered mental status, nausea, vomiting, anorexia, hypotension, hyponatremia, and hyperkalemia. And over time, the hyperadrenalism can lead to hypoglycemia, hyperkalemia, metabolic acidosis, hyponatremia, and high BUN. And actually, on the weakness, fatigue, altered mental status, have any of your guys have those kind of complaints? If you're worried about it, like.
Oh, I don't really talk to them that much. We're not like buddies.
But like, well, do they have insurance, health insurance? Are they like getting checkups, whatever?
That again, like once the bag is in their hands, sort of my job is done.
So before the bag is in their hands, do they have insurance? Are they checked up on? Like, I get that you wouldn't do the checkups, but.
Yeah, but again, just doctor stuff, like that has nothing to do with the bags or anything.
Wait, what? So the CEO's job is to put bags in their hands?
No, I don't do that. I'm at home. But I just make sure the connection happens. I've got a guy who, makes sure that Tim, the guy working at Tim Hortons, hands off all the multiple bags to all 20 Tims.
Is he by any chance the mailman who used to be the CEO?
You know what? He looks a lot like the mailman who used to be the CEO. I think,
Wait,
is there something up? Do you think he's trying to take my job back? Now I've got the robot and the mailman coming back?
How did you not know that it was the same guy?
Because I'm at home. I'm not dealing with, I've got guys for all this stuff. I'm the CEO.
Okay. Diagnostic testing for Addison disease includes the Cosentropin stimulation test, which is the most specific test.
Elon Musk knows the name of like everyone of, the people who work for him or whatever?
Nope.
I'd hope that he knows a decent, like whoever he replaced as CEO.
No, he doesn't know a single person name who works for him. He walks in to the office once a quarter and he says, "Who are you? Give me my papers." And then he does important CEO stuff on his papers, but he doesn't have time to memorize everyone's name and all this stuff. He's busy, busy.
I do remember whenever you earned your PhD, your dissertation was on Elon Musk's day-to-day work. So
now you might be wondering, isn't it easier for me to remember my employees' names because there's only one name. They're all Tim, to which I would say, again, not my fault, not my problem.
Well, it's just not an obligation for you.
Yeah. I'm moved on to something else by the time my brain is even trying to process like
just the name Tim. Yeah. Okay. So, as I said, in Addison disease, the diagnostic testing includes the Cosentropin stimulation test, which is the most specific test of adrenal function. Cosentropin is synthetic ACTH, which we talked about earlier. So, cortisol level is measured before and after the administration of Cosentropin. In a patient who is otherwise healty, an elevated cortisol after the administration of Cosentropin is a positive test, meaning that the patient has hypoadrenalism, and it can be confirmed to be Addison disease if it's chronic.
One thing I'm really worried about is they're sort of splitting up into factions.
The Tims or the mailman?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's these little cliques, and I think some are sort of talking about rebellion.
Is it like a place where rebellion would do anything? It's just like it's a mutiny, like on a pirate ship makes sense, but are they unionizing? Is that what you mean?
Oh, maybe that's what it is.
Well, that's healthy. That's good. So they're asking for basic rights and, basic pay.
I paid to change their name. They didn't have to pay for that.
Yeah. No, I mean like
So
they can get pay checks for them. Do you pay them?
yeah, I mean, I paid to change their name. I mean, that was their.
I guess.
So I paid. I covered that. I paid for that.
So do they have a means to pay for their food, their rent, or do you consider that their rent to be just wherever they stay whenever you send them off?
They don't have time to have a place to live because they're flying constantly. And food, they have, I mean, huge sacks of Tim Hortons scraps. So I mean, what? That's part of the job. That's like, these are the benefits. You keep asking, do they have benefits? Yes, they have a huge sack of Tim Hortons scraps.
Anyway, I guess I'm getting too in the weeds about your business. I don't need to tell you how to run it. Treatment for Addison disease or chronic adrenal insufficiency involves replacing the steroids that the patient is no longer producing with hydrocortisone. If there's evidence of postural instability, administer fludrocortisone, a steroid hormone that is very high in mineralocorticoid or aldosterone-like effect. Use mineralocorticoid supplements in primary adrenal insufficiency if the patient is on oral steroids such as cortisone.
Two of the factions have been fighting, and one of the leaders of one of the factions was assassinated the other day. Like, straight up assassinated.
Wow, and this is all within the company against the company, or is this separate? Is this their own business kind of thing?
This is in the plane. We're on the plane.
Oh, you go,
or
with
they
them?
are.
Okay.
Yeah, we as the company. We're on the. We're on the plane.
The royal we.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I don't really know what to speak to. I guess
we replaced him. We have another Tim. It's always 20.
Yeah. Wait. In midair, hold on. Before you took off, you replaced one of the Tims that was with you because you have to have 20 on a plane?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's sort of on a plane. It's sort of like when there's an emergency, you might ask, like, is anyone here a doctor? So you're on this American Airlines flight. You're saying, is anyone here a Tim? If so, that's easier. I do prefer to have
you
people
recruit
named Tim.
from the plane, from the passengers who are already there, if possible. But if there aren't any, then it's like an emergency landing, or if you haven't taken off, then you go off the plane and find someone.
If there aren't any what?
Tims.
If there aren't any Tims, then someone else will volunteer. That's when you ask, okay, is anyone willing to change their name to Tim? And so far, at least one person has every time.
Well, wait. Legally, someone has filed the paperwork from inside the plane to have their name changed so that you can
do it online. I just do it on my phone.
Okay. Well, I guess at that point I'm gonna have to.
I'm gonna
call BS on this.
Does that
now.
matter? We weren't in the air. We were on the tarmac.
That I was following. For me now, I'm just kind of calling BS. I don't think you really changed their name.
What do you mean? You think I'm just pocketing the money? That's also my money because I said I'm paying for it, so I'm just not buying it. That would be insane. Then I mean we would get sued because then the company would be
okay. DJ Dylan is
lying.
Really
you get
eyeing
sued
you
for
right
lying,
now.
which we're not going to do. We're not going to do that. We're not going to get sued for that because they're all named Tim.
You know what?
Avril Lavigne would be so upset.
This whole conversation does kind of bring to mind what we wanted to focus on today.
No, it doesn't.
Imagine, if you will, listener, all the big board, and you got all this preferably red yarn, and you got a lot of pins, and you put the pins in the board, and you put the yarn, and you write down names on index cards and shapes and newspaper clippings. And
I'm reminded of a GIF from years and years ago, Dr. London.
Mom's like, you choose GIF, but yes, well, I would choose GIF.
Yeah.
For pronunciation.
Oh, you think it's GIF just because the guy who invented it said that?
No, because Mom's like, you choose.
He died or something, so.
Okay. No, I just want to bring the alternate, the devil's advocate. I want to make sure that we hear all sides on this.
There's a GIF of one of the horrible bosses, or one of the employees of the horrible bosses, and he has exactly what you're talking about: red string on a board and connecting all these pieces of mail together.
Horrible Bosses 2, great scene.
Yes, and that is very funny GIF from I think it was from my parents' time.
Yes. So that's to catch all listeners up. What we're talking about is, of course, conspiracies. And we're going to get into what's real, what's not real. We want to debunk some things because people overreact, especially in medicine. You know, there's been a lot of stuff flying around, especially personal stuff about me. And it's conspiracies.
Yeah, that your main concern in terms of medical misinformation is stuff specifically about you, Dr. London, not really the human body or disease or anything like that.
Yeah, no, vaccines, I think everybody's pretty straightforward about. People are good with that. But no, it's for me, there's a lot of personal stuff that I see in the tabloids.
Yeah.
And those conspiracies need to be debunked. Those are, not even old wives' tales. Like, they're just straight up conspiracies. People looking for things that don't exist and then thinking that they are smart for figuring it out whenever there's no way to prove or disprove my personal life to anything.
Because like, the pictures are too blurry.
Most of them, yeah. So
yeah.
I guess I want to.
All this to say, we're myth busting. We're talking about these. I mean, in the years that we've been running this podcast, the medical community has gone through a lot of change, gone through a lot of news, gone through a lot of stuff. And with that comes with distrust and all this misinformation, and for good reason. Misinformation is fun. It's fun to tell your friends lies, and it's really cool.
It is really cool, and the amount of street cred that you can acquire by spreading conspiracies is like, there's a lot of street cred to be gained, and so we're not trying to pretend that that's not real.
No, and we're not going to stop you guys from grinding your grind. If some of you AI bots out there run like a TikTok that's all about crazy conspiracies that you're obviously just sort of making up on the spot, that's fine. That's your brand.
It's actually good.
You're a hustler.
Love
that's
it.
Cool. But for our show, this is a place of facts and reality. And so we do have to bust some of these myths. And so, for example, medical conspiracy number 1, I've been reading a lot online about how our blood is soda now. That's a thing that the vaccine did. The COVID vaccine turned our blood to soda, and if you start bleeding, you can drink it. That one is actually, I think that one's true in my experience.
Yes.
So I'm not busting that one. This one's actually a real one.
This is another example of a very personal, specific conspiracy. Cameron's blood he manages to he runs it through one of those soda machine maker things. Like, if you've ever gone to like,
I have it attached to my side, sort of like, maybe a catheter or something like that.
Yeah.
And it is constantly cycling my blood through like a soda stream.
It's like a dialysis machine, like replacing the kidneys, except once again, it just carbonates his blood.
My blood is more soda than any other human on Earth.
So that's, I would say it's not so much a conspiracy as a bragging right of yours. Like,
no, but I see all the like people like emailing me like, you need to stop doing this.
Yeah.
I think it's really unhealthy.
I think so too.
And stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, okay, you're trying to spread all this misinformation when it's actually true that the vaccine did this.
So you don't, because you are fully vaccinated, but you don't think that could be a separate event from the machine that you're currently plugged into?
I wasn't vaccinated and my blood wasn't carbonated.
Yeah.
Then I was vaccinated and now my blood is carbonated.
No, you're okay. And once again, it's hard to argue it. These conspiracies, it's hard to prove true or false sometimes, because
and that's why we just believe anything, believe everything, and keep running your TikToks and stuff that are all about just sort of making stuff up, because it's just as true. Dr. London, me asking a question is just as much proof as like evidence and like something like actual hard facts, or
as long as you ask it
something tangible. But my question is the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It has just as much weight as an answer.
Now,
I don't want the answer most of the time, but I do want the question.
Mm-hmm. Well, the question reveals so much. I have one of these rumors that have been going around. One of these conspiracies is about me and my work. So just gonna be honest here. I did mess up in surgery once, and it happens sometimes. And we fixed it up, but the patient was great. Everything worked out fine, but I did have to turn in my badge and gun after the surgery, and that's not.
So that rumor is also true. So far we're just confirming conspiracies.
Yeah, well, people made it because I want to say the patient survived the surgery. That part wasn't mentioned in the conspiracy, but like I want to make that clear. They survived. Yeah. My gun and badge did not. So
your gun. I mean, it's sad, but your gun shot itself.
Yeah, and the memorial service.
We talked about our pet gun many weeks ago.
Yeah,
the show this year had sort of a new pet.
Mm-hmm. Our 150th episode we introduced. Yeah.
We introduced our pet gun, and you might be wondering, where did that little fellow go?
Because we heard him on so many episodes chiming in the funniest little quips.
That was the gun that Dr. London had to give up.
Yeah.
And he was so disappointed in Dr. London's actions that blew his steel out.
Some people say that maybe the part of surgery the reason the surgery had to happen and also the reason it didn't go well, both of those were gun related. But like I said, I turned in the gun afterwards.
And I disagree. I would say it wasn't the issue with the gun. It was how slippery your hands were. Because the gun was not the only thing you were trying to pick up and constantly like dropping and it going off.
Yeah, well,
everything you were trying to grab was just sort of slipping and sliding out of your hands. So that's not the gun's fault. That's your hand's fault.
I want to clarify that, and that was me practicing sleight of hand. That wasn't actually slippery stuff. That was me sort of, it's called clowning. Yeah, I was juggling things and I was making it look as if it was slippery, but really I had that much control, except for the part where the patient got shot. That part I lost control a little bit.
Oh, and you had to turn our pet in. That sucks. So that conspiracy is true. That one's real also. So I've been seeing a lot lately on these. Oh, Dr. London, I'm on these QAnon forums.
Oh, good. Yeah, you said you had a lot to teach me from there.
Yeah, so I became a moderator on this QAnon forum. And
very quickly rose through the ranks.
Yeah, it's like the CEO thing. It's a lot of the same people. It's mostly just like a Discord with me and the Tims, honestly. But the Tims were saying, and Dr. London, this is actually, I don't know if this is true. You're gonna have to bust this one. But that the moon is sick. That the it's been sick for a while. Like it has a cancer or something terminal.
So,
and as a doctor, I want to hear your professional opinion.
So people have talked about how some people referred to climate change as global warming. It's not limited to one globe. It's not limited to just Earth. The moon is also getting warm. Not that warm, but like slightly warm. It's a low fever for the moon. For the moon.
Yeah.
So it has no effect on anything really, but it is sick. It's just like. It's like having just incredibly mild allergies.
All the time. Wow, that's horrific. That's awful. And the government's trying to hide this? They're trying to cover this up?
Yeah, they try to cover up the moon, but so far they haven't been able to find a disc or a balloon or any kind of bag big enough to wrap around the moon. Honestly, I feel like I've kind of said too much there, but yeah.
Oh, you're part of this conspiracy. I was just thinking like, hey, can you look at the moon and diagnose it? But you know all the details because you're wrapped up in this. So that conspiracy is also true. Dr. Lennon, is there any other conspiracies we want to talk about?
Yeah, so, and this is just a brief thing, but all the rumors been going around. You've seen headlines about it. yes, we did have a second Jumbotron installed in the living room.
Yeah.
It's not as good. I think the first one we got was actually better. Now it's kind of tough because we never keep them on the same channel. So they're both kind of blasting.
Well, I mean, the conspiracy wasn't that we got these big screens, Dr. London. That's not a conspiracy. That's just, hey, I think they got a big jumbo screen. The conspiracy is what you were playing on it.
Mm-hmm.
There was a video
Yeah.
that I don't think is super public.
Well, it's not like I haven't publicized it, if that's what you mean. Like I haven't released it. It's not on our TikTok yet. And I say yet because, hey, I'm thinking about kind of coming clean about it.
JFK is alive.
Yeah.
It was a video of you and JFK, and you were teaching him a TikTok dance.
Yeah.
And you had it on the background, and you accidentally posted it to Instagram. And that's what the conspiracy is about, Dr. London, is that you're hiding something. Is it true or is it not? Confirm or bust.
Okay, well, it's more nuanced than that. So there are a lot of conspiracies surrounding him. Most of them aren't about his ability to do a TikTok dance.
Yeah.
Yes, he was great at it. Fine. He was great at the TikTok dance.
Oh, wow. And you got jealous. That's why you're trying to hide it.
Yeah.
So I've been seeing a lot of comments on the forums lately, which is the Discord chat with my Tims.
Mm-hmm.
About, have you heard about some of this stuff they've been putting in our food, Dr. London? They've been trying to hide.
Yeah. No, sorry. Yes.
It's plants and stuff from the ground, like plants and stuff. They're trying to put that in our food. That's what you like stand on.
I have a confession to make. I'm also overseeing that.
You're wrapped up in putting like
plant-based
stuff from the
food.
ground into our food. Why, Dr. Lynn? I don't want to eat stuff from the ground.
No, I know you
it's
say
gross.
That. But like, and you always say,
I don't want to eat
if
rocks.
you see lettuce, and
carrots,
I'll say
carrots.
They're
inside the ground. They're dirty.
And potatoes, yes, I know, but like, and I'll admit,
they're putting this in our food.
I was the first one to push against it whenever they said, "Hey, let's put some of these vegetables into, our meat. Let's make plant-based meat products, and then hopefully we'll get to a point where people can substitute that."
No, Dr. London. See, this is what makes it a conspiracy. It's not just plant-based meat products. They're putting it in chicken pot pie. They're putting some of this stuff in French fries, Dr. London. French fries are made out of these dirty ground things.
Yeah, and like I said, so there was a lot of pushback. There's been a lot of back and forth as we tried to figure out what our goal was. And,
Yeah, because you guys were just doing stuff aimlessly. You didn't have a goal in mind. It was just sort of a collective of doctors just screwing around.
It started out with that and a lot of just, going out to the bars, and then and then after the bars closed, you're like, oh, what are we going to do next? And then we're all running around in our lab coats and our
then
slacks.
You just start eating stuff from the ground, I guess.
That's, yes. Okay. So yes, that is what happened. And so, but that is how scientific discoveries happen. You go out, get
obliterated,
drunk, yes, and then you start scooping stuff up from the ground, putting it in your mouth, being like, "Oh man, I wish this tasted good." Someone else was like,
"Hey, good," as dirt and stuff is pouring out of your mouth.
What if it? Someone else was like, "Hey man, what if it did?" And everyone keeps asking, "What if it did?"
Yeah.
And eventually, that turns into a hypothesis, and then you go get funding from DC and
start bringing in all of our food.
Yeah.
Dr. London.
Yeah.
Conspiracy confirmed again.
Another conspiracy.
Busted.
Yeah. Another conspiracy that we've been hearing a lot is that the Unabomber popularized wearing hoodies.
Yes, this is something that I've
a little less personal.
A lot about. Yeah, this is not. I mean, it is a medical conspiracy, I would say.
But it's not as
because
targeted.
He was a person. He had blood and like skin and stuff.
Yeah, he didn't use biological warfare, but he did use warfare as a person who, like, if part of him was cut off, put under a microscope, that can be used in a biology class.
Yeah, exactly. And he he had a skeleton.
Yeah, in his body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
So the question of did he popularize hoodies? Yeah, that is something that the hoodie industry has been trying to suppress for a long time because they don't want their product to be associated with them.
Yeah.
People
have seen me wearing hoodies.
Oops. Let me.
Okay.
I gotta confess about something
Okay.
here. I designed the Unabomber's hoodie, and it was the first hoodie.
Okay,
and I did it because we were so like.
My understanding was that there were hoodies before that, but he popularized them. I thought that was the.
If there were, I hadn't seen it. I guess maybe like. Sometimes two different parts of the world will invent the same thing or whatever at the same time.
Yeah.
Maybe something like that.
Maybe, yeah. So that's what and possibly like a significant amount of time before you did as well.
I was the first one to take, it was a sack and then
Are you sure it wasn't
to the back of a jacket.
Okay. Yeah.
No, it was like a grocery bag tied to the back of a jacket, and you could put your head in there for fun.
And you called it a sack jacket, right?
It was a sack jacket, and I invented it. So me and the Unabomber were hanging out at a bar. We were drinking. We getting obliterated, smash, and we started saying, "Hey, what if my jacket had a little bag that I could stick my head in?"
Sorry, you said that, or he said it?
Ooh, it's really hard to tell. I don't know.
I honestly, and I don't want you to take this the wrong way, but it seems like the Unabomber wouldn't have wanted to chat you up. Like personality-wise, whenever I read and watch documentaries about him, he seemed like the type who he's a little bit more isolated. Wrote a whole manifesto.
Oh, for sure. So I get what you're saying. He does come off as really frosty when you first meet him. But that's because he's awkward. He has anxiety.
Is he an introvert?
He's an introvert, Dr. London. And so once you get to know the Unabomber, he's actually a really cool guy. And he will talk your ear off about some stuff. It's about how we need to destroy all technology and we need to revert back to a hunter-gatherer society. He will talk for hours about this stuff.
But you treat that a lot like how you treat the medical lessons on this podcast. So I can. It's so easy to see.
I just roast you the whole time during your medical lesson on the podcast, whereas I'm taking notes and listening to his speeches.
Right. Okay, so I guess maybe one more. I have one more conspiracy that I wanted to debunk. People have claimed that we, all of our official, tax and whatever paperwork, that we do that through sort of, I guess, less efficient means, like that we do it the wrong way and that we should be in trouble with the government, whatever. We do all of it through TikTok. All of it. All of our paperwork is through TikTok. So I just wanted to get that out there done. All of my tax filings are done through TikTok, all the company filings as well. We do it all through TikTok, and
you just make videos and you go for every...
Me dancing.
It's sort of for every question on every form you go.
Yeah.
First name, you go London. Or doctor.
Yeah. And then for all the, taxable income and any write-offs, all that, I just make a video for it. Yeah. So, so a lot of people were saying it's, we do it that we haven't done our taxes, or that.
Yeah. There has been conspiracy going around lately that we haven't done our taxes. That's another one. It's been all over my email that keeps saying, pay your taxes. We need you to pay your taxes. You're about to lose a lot of stuff. And it's, these conspiracies.
It's just conspiracies. Yeah. And it's frustrating because people believe that stuff.
Oh, yeah. That's the misinformation. That's the conspiracy that's not true. That's the one.
Well, that's debunked. I feel like do you have any others?
Oh, I have a conspiracy, Dr. London. I have a conspiracy. People keep asking me. I've heard that your Tim Hortons scraps a lot of the times are just from old 7-Eleven bits and stuff. That I can confirm, I can tell you is false. Debunked. That conspiracy is not true.
And that's from all the listeners who... I feel like, I guess they've seen the Tims enough that they aren't finding out about this sponsorship today. They've been seeing the Tims around, and you've been talking it up separately from the podcast.
Oh yeah, it's huge. It's just like a word of mouth.
Okay.
Thing.
Well, great. I'm glad it's all legit. Especially because they're staying at my house this week.
Yeah, it's word of mouth because DJ Della told Avril Lavigne.
Oh yeah, they hang.
So
okay. Well, I guess that's about it. That's all the conspiracies, right? Everything's debunked. Okay.
We're happy to finally fight against misinformation.
Yeah, and like to be the voice that corrects things, because people come, to this podcast for not just information, but for education specifically. And so we like to not only say, well, that's false, that's not true. We also say, hey, here is your path forward. And hopefully you learn a little bit about how to debunk things yourself. And then you can start your own podcast where you debunk conspiracies.
Yeah, or you can, maybe use some of this newfound knowledge to further your virus, maybe how many computers you're on, or the networks you're on, or anything like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Like that's the problem with this listener base. Like I do forget sometimes. But yes, if you are a virus trying to go viral, obviously we need to be catering to that. And anyway, so thank you to our producer Cameron. Thank you to Digital, the host.
Conspiracy. I've been reading a lot online about how our blood is soda now. That's a thing that the vaccine did. The COVID vaccine turned our blood to soda, and if you start bleeding, you can drink it. Conspiracy. Me asking a question is just as much proof as, evidence and actual hard facts. Conspiracy.
DrLondonSmith.com, and this has been the Jock Podcast.
See ya.